Welcome to a journey through one of hip hop's most fascinating and controversial figures. I'm talking about Shawn Carter, better known to the world as Jay-Z. This isn't just another celebrity biography. This is the story of a man who didn't just participate in hip hop culture. He fundamentally changed it, challenged it, and sometimes divided it in ways that still echo today. I'm your host, Sonia Lambert, and this is yet another exciting episode behind the glitz and glam of global celebrities with fame factor. From the streets of Brooklyn to boardrooms with billion-dollar deals, from legendary rap battles to conspiracy theories, from artistic collaborations that changed music forever, to business partnerships that sparked outrage. Jay-Z's story is one of constant reinvention, calculated risks, and the kind of moves that make you question everything you thought you knew about the music industry. And if stories like this spark your curiosity, don't stop here. Discover more behind the scenes deep dives into iconic artists, industry trailblazers, and untold celebrity sagas with Skoob, the AI powered podcast app offering over 1,500 expertly curated episodes, inspired by best selling nonfiction books and exclusive sourcing. Whether you're craving revelations on fame, business, music, or pop culture enigmas, Skoob serves up focused insights you won't find anywhere else. Download Skoob from the App Store or Play Store today, and keep exploring the stories that make, break, and define legends. Let's jump in, because every legend has a story, and every story has a fame factor. Picture this. It's September 11th, 2001. While the world was focused on tragedy, something else was happening that would reshape hip-hop forever. Jay-Z's album, The Blueprint, made its quiet entrance into the world. But one track had already been making waves since its debut at Hot 97's Summer Jam show at Nassau Coliseum. That track was Takeover, a blues-infused monster built on a sample from The Doors' 5 to 1. But this wasn't just another song. This was Jay-Z's full-fledged entry into the sacred tradition of diss tracks, and it was about to ignite one of modern rap's most legendary rivalries. The track opened with a bold declaration of Rockefeller's East Coast dominance, targeting Nas with the line, "Ask Nas, he don't want it with Hov, no." But the primary victim of Jay-Z's lyrical assault was prodigy from Queens duo Mobb Deep. In what became one of hip-hop's most brutal public humiliations, Jay-Z delivered the devastating blow. "I don't care if you Mobb Deep, I hold triggers to cruise. You little fuck. I got money stacks bigger than you. When I was pushing weight back in '88, you was a ballerina. I got your pictures. I seen ya." And then came the visual evidence. Prodigy's childhood photos as a dancer dressed like Michael Jackson were displayed on the arena's Jumbotron, drawing laughter throughout the venue. It was savage, it was personal, and it worked. But this wasn't just random beef. The roots ran deep, tracing back to 1999 when Jay-Z's crew had been dropping what Prodigy saw as subtle disses. Memphis Bleek's line, "Your lifestyle's written," was interpreted as a jab at Nas's album It Was Written. Failed collaborations and sampling disputes had added fuel to the fire. Nas had initially tried to stay above the fray, choosing not to escalate things into another Biggie versus Tupac situation. But Prodigy couldn't let it go. He saw Jay-Z's evolution from high-life imagery to street credibility as personal, especially after feeling disrespected by Jay's lyrics in Money Cash Hoes. When Nas finally responded, he did it with surgical precision. Following the Summer Jam show, he appeared on radio delivering a freestyle over Eric B. and Rakim's Paid in Full beat. This wasn't just a response, this was a lyrical assassination. Later known as the Stillmatic freestyle, Nas dismantled Jay-Z piece by piece. "Fake coke rhymes. And those times they never took place, you liar," he rapped, questioning Jay's authenticity at its core. He attacked Jay's legal troubles, called his Rocawear clothing line subpar, mocked his Rockefeller associates, and even compared Jay-Z to Cisco, a comparison that had to sting. But Jay-Z wasn't done. He went back to Takeover, adding an additional verse aimed directly at Nas. This is where things got truly personal. Jay declared Nas's career dead, argued that Nas only managed one significant album per decade, and made the devastating claim that Nas had never experienced real street life until Jay-Z introduced him to it. He even called Nas the fag model from Carl Connie ads. And then came the line that would become hip-hop legend. Addressing criticism of his sampling tactics, Jay-Z delivered one of the genre's most memorable put-downs. "Yeah, I sampled your voice. You was using it wrong. You made it a hot line. I made it a hot song." This single line encapsulated everything: the tension, the artistic rivalry, the assertion of superiority. It was brilliant, brutal, and it worked. The exchanges between Jay-Z and Nas became a defining narrative in hip-hop, showcasing what happens when lyrical prowess meets personal vendettas. But behind this legendary rivalry was another story unfolding, one that would change both Jay-Z's sound and hip-hop forever. Enter Kanye West, a young producer with a vision that seemed almost revolutionary at the time. Kanye's first notable collaboration with Jay-Z traces back to the Dynasty Rock La Familia in 2000. The track, "This Can't Be Life," featuring Beanie Sigel and Scarface, sampled Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes' "I Miss You." While this song might seem minor in retrospect, it established something crucial: a soulful foundation that would become pivotal in Jay-Z's acclaimed Blueprint album. What Kanye was doing went deeper than just production. As Mark Anthony Neal noted, West was working to blend soul music from the late 1960s and 1970s into hip-hop, treating soul as a classical American art form rooted in what Guthrie Ramsey Jr. called the community theaters of Black life. This approach had historical precedent. Think about Otis Redding's journey, delving into popular music archives with works like "Rock Me Baby" in 1965, inspired by Lil Son Jackson's "Rockin' and Rollin'" from 1950. His rendition of "Try a Little Tenderness" in 1966 took a 1932 tune and made it timeless. Soul music had always been about bridging generations. But there was tension here, too. When rap emerged in the mid-1970s, it was often seen as out of step with the civil rights generation, the soul generation. Early perceptions of rap as mere noise stemmed partly from how young producers and DJs repurposed existing music in ways that seemed unfamiliar to older Black audiences. Parents would warn their children not to mess up the needle while they practiced scratching. Yet icons like Kool Herc, Grandmaster Flash, and Africa Bambaataa consistently showed dedication to soul music, particularly in finding and exploiting breakbeats. Kanye was continuing this tradition, but with a sophistication and reverence that bridged the generational divide. But Jay-Z's story isn't all artistic triumph and business success. There's a darker narrative that has followed him throughout his career, one involving conspiracy theories, occult imagery, and questions about his true motivations. In 2003, Jay-Z announced his retirement from music following the Black Album. It was, predictably, a publicity stunt designed to generate buzz and boost sales. 3 years later, he was back. But what happened in between sparked one of the strangest controversies in his career. In 2004, Danger Mouse released the Grey Album, which included a track called Lucifer that incorporated some deeply troubling messages. When played normally, the song contained sound bites playing in reverse, making them unintelligible. But when played backward, something chilling emerged. Jay-Z could be heard saying phrases like "666, murder Jesus," discussing violent acts against Catholics, leaving adversaries on the brink of death, and introducing people to demons. These weren't subliminal messages designed for subconscious absorption. They were clear, direct statements that became comprehensible when the track was reversed. Here's what's truly bizarre. Instead of pursuing legal action or condemning this manipulation of his voice, Jay-Z praised Danger Mouse's work. He expressed honor at the remix and called it ingenious. This reaction fueled even more speculation about his true intentions and beliefs. The conspiracy theories only intensified from there. On Magna Carta Holy Grail, Jay-Z addressed these rumors directly in his song Heaven, stating, "Conspiracy theorists screamin' Illuminati. They can't believe this much skill is in the human body." But his actions seemed to contradict his denials. He was photographed wearing Aleister Crowley sweatshirts, used Illuminati-related hand signs, employed occult imagery in music videos, and wore 5% Nation medallions, symbols of a religious movement founded by a man who considered himself divine. The organization believes its followers are spiritual elite who possess the universe's true secrets. The conspiracy theories weren't limited to Jay-Z. Kanye West, who emerged in 2004 with Jesus Walks, projecting an image as a Christian who cherished Jesus, underwent his own transformation that fed these theories. Despite his initial Christian imagery, Kanye evolved into what many saw as a materialistic, self-centered character, notorious for promoting what critics called Illuminati symbolism and excess. His achievements seemed almost miraculous to some, winning 8 Grammys, being named Hottest MC in the Game by MTV in 2008, and being listed as one of Time magazine's 100 most influential people in 2005. To critics, it seemed incredible that what they called a talentless troll could achieve such mainstream success. But given what they saw as a mentally enslaved audience, this popularity wasn't entirely surprising. Kanye's involvement with Jay-Z's Rockefeller Records significantly boosted his career. Initially seen as Jay-Z's protege after contributing to The Blueprint, Kanye's ego grew alongside his success. He became one of the most recognizable rappers to hint at Illuminati connections, frequently wearing garments with Baphomet symbols, and even declaring he'd sold his soul to the devil. His self-image as a divine figure became increasingly evident. He appeared on Rolling Stone's cover in 2006 resembling Jesus, complete with a crown of thorns. His track, I Am a God, on the album Jesus, a deliberate distortion of the name Jesus, further illustrated this complex blurring of ego, artistry, and possible nods to conspiracy theories. Whether these theories hold any truth is debatable, but their persistence speaks to something deeper about how we view success, influence, and the price of fame in hip-hop culture. Let's shift from conspiracy theories to confirmed game-changing moves. In summer 2013, Jay-Z pulled off one of the most innovative marketing partnerships in music history, one that would influence how artists think about distribution forever. The partnership with Samsung for Magna Carta Holy Grail was groundbreaking in its simplicity and boldness. Samsung agreed to purchase 1 million copies of the album for $5 million, allowing Galaxy users to download it for free via a customized app with exclusive early access. This wasn't just about selling records. It was about redefining how music could reach consumers and influence the broader digital landscape. As Jay-Z announced in a slick commercial during the NBA Finals, we need to write the new rules. But the launch wasn't flawless. Early download issues led to what became known as Samsung Fail on social media. App malfunctions created a less than optimal user experience, generating criticism from journalists and users alike. Despite the technical hiccups, the collaboration demonstrated how commercial partnerships could revolutionize music distribution. Jay-Z also used this opportunity to challenge traditional industry metrics. He famously tweeted, "If 1 million records get sold and Billboard doesn't report it, did it happen?" This was a direct challenge to existing chart systems, forcing them to accommodate new sales models. Critics raised privacy concerns about the app, with some calling Samsung technically inept and questioning user data security. But despite the controversies, the $5 million deal proved profitable from the start, highlighting a complete sellout of the initial million copies before consumers even heard the music. This wasn't just a business transaction. It was a pioneering move that influenced future interactions between artists and distributors. Jay-Z had once again demonstrated his ability to challenge norms and rewrite industry rules. But perhaps no business move generated more controversy than Jay-Z's partnership with the NFL, a decision that put him at odds with Colin Kaepernick and raised fundamental questions about activism, influence, and sellouts. The irony was thick. Jay-Z had been a vocal advocate for social justice, releasing tracks like Spiritual in 2016, following high-profile police shootings. On Tidal, he expressed his frustration. I made this song a while ago. I never got to finish it. I'm saddened and disappointed in this America. We should be further along. We are not. He had supported Kaepernick, worn his jersey, and encouraged artists not to perform at the Super Bowl in protest of the NFL's treatment of the quarterback. Then, just a few years later, Robert Kraft convinced him to meet with NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell, resulting in a partnership between Rock Nation and the NFL that gave Jay-Z influence over the Super Bowl halftime show. The backlash was swift and brutal. Eric Reid, Kaepernick's former teammate, didn't hold back. Jay-Z claimed to be a supporter of Colin, wore his jersey, told people not to perform at the Super Bowl because of the treatment that the NFL did to Colin. And now he's going to be a part owner. It's kind of despicable. Jay-Z defended his position by arguing they had moved past kneeling and needed to focus on actionable items. But Reid countered by questioning Jay-Z's authority on the matter, pointing out that he had never taken a knee in protest himself. Journalist Jamile Hill captured the broader concern. I feel like Jay-Z is giving them way too much of his cultural capital that they have not earned. The NFL was using Jay-Z's credibility to improve their standing with African Americans, without having done the work to deserve that trust. In a January 2020 New York Times interview, Jay-Z addressed the controversy. We are two adult men who disagree on the tactic but are marching for the same cause. This comment reflected the complex nature of their shared mission despite different approaches. The controversy raised fundamental questions about working within the system versus outside it, about the effectiveness of corporate partnerships versus grassroots activism, and about whether influence comes with the responsibility to use it in specific ways. But Jay-Z's most ambitious business move was yet to come. Frustrated with the existing streaming landscape and seeking more control over his musical destiny, he set out to create his own platform. It started with a bold proposition to Spotify, exclusive licensing rights to his entire catalog for $1 billion. Spotify's leadership didn't flinch. Their analytics team had studied Taylor Swift's boycott and concluded it barely impacted their subscriber base. Only a few hundred users left out of 15 million paying customers, so they declined Jay-Z's offer. This rejection set the stage for Jay-Z's counter-strategy. In January 2015, the share price of Swedish-Norwegian tech firm Aspiro soared dramatically. The catalyst was an acquisition bid announced that Friday morning, and the bidder was Jay-Z through his company Panther Bidco. Instead of licensing his music to others, Jay-Z sought ownership of a streaming service. His target was Aspiro, the company behind YMP, a Swedish streaming provider offering a premium service called Tidal. By early 2015, Jay-Z had significantly diversified beyond music. He owned stakes in French champagne brands and the Brooklyn Nets basketball franchise. Jay-Z offered $56 million to acquire Aspiro, which had been largely forgotten as a viable Spotify competitor. The bid was accepted by Norwegian media conglomerate Schibsted, but resistance came from smaller shareholders. Sune Carlson, representing shareholder association Aspiro Aktikraft with just over 10% ownership, stated, "We will recommend that our members turn down the bid." This placed seasoned Swedish stock market enthusiasts against one of music's most powerful figures. Despite opposition, Project Panther Bidco completed the acquisition within a week, transforming Aspiro into what would become Tidal. A few months later, Jay-Z and Beyoncé arrived at a glass-paneled industrial structure in Midtown Manhattan for a press conference. Vanya Schlogel, chief investment officer at Rock Nation, addressed the media. "We are here to launch a platform which is owned by the artists." This declaration represented a significant shift in the music industry, emphasizing artist ownership and control. Tidal wasn't just another streaming service. It was positioned as an artist-controlled alternative to corporate-dominated platforms. So, what do we make of Jay-Z's journey? From the streets of Brooklyn to billion-dollar business deals, from legendary rap battles to conspiracy theories, from artistic innovations to controversial partnerships. His story reflects the complexity of success in modern America. He's simultaneously celebrated as a business genius and criticized as a sellout. He's praised for his artistic contributions and questioned for his corporate partnerships. He's admired for his success and suspected for his methods. These contradictions don't diminish his impact, they define it. Jay-Z has consistently challenged the rules of engagement in hip-hop culture. Whether through devastating diss tracks, revolutionary production collaborations, innovative marketing partnerships, or controversial business alliances, he's forced the culture to evolve, adapt, and question its own values. The questions his career raises go beyond hip-hop. How do we balance artistic integrity with commercial success? When does working within the system become complicity? Can you change the game without becoming the game? What's the real cost of influence and power? These questions don't have easy answers, and perhaps that's the point. Jay-Z's legacy isn't just about the music he made or the businesses he built. It's about the conversations he forced us to have about power, authenticity, and what it means to succeed on your own terms. From the blueprint to Tidal, from Nas to the NFL, from conspiracy theories to streaming revolutions, Jay-Z's story is ultimately about a man who refused to accept the world as he found it. Whether you love him or hate him, whether you see him as a visionary or a villain, you can't deny that he changed everything. And maybe that's the most hip-hop thing of all, the refusal to accept limitations, the determination to write your own rules, and the willingness to face the consequences of your choices. In a culture built on authenticity and keeping it real, perhaps the realest thing Jay-Z ever did was admit that he was willing to change, evolve, and redefine what success could look like. The Jay-Z Chronicles continue to unfold, and the questions they raise about power, influence, and authenticity remain as relevant as ever. Because in the end, his story isn't just about one man's journey from the projects to the penthouse. It's about the choices we all make when faced with the opportunity to either accept the world as it is or fight to make it what we think it should be. I'm your host, Sonia Lambert, and this has been Fame Factor. Thank you for joining me on this deep dive into one of hip-hop's most complex and fascinating figures. If you enjoyed this episode, or if it left you with more questions than answers, please like, follow, and subscribe to the podcast. Sharing the show helps bring these untold stories to even more curious minds. And we love hearing your thoughts and reactions in the comments or reviews. For even more behind-the-scenes reveals, music industry mysteries, and the untold stories shaping today's culture, don't miss out on Skoob, the AI-powered podcast app. Download Skoob from the App Store or Play Store to keep feeding your curiosity with exclusive content and fast, focused insights into the world's most influential legends. Until next time, keep questioning, keep pushing, and remember, sometimes the most interesting stories are the ones without easy answers.